This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020. The following program is rated PG and may contain language and material that may be slightly offensive to some audiences. With us today on the Havery Show, we have Sebring City Councilman Josh Stewart. Josh, here's the burning question.
Oh, boy.
What were you thinking when you ran for office?
Let's see. I can tell you why I ran.
Okay.
So at the time, I had just had my first child, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was born in October. I ran in January, right?
Yep.
So he was 3 or 4 months old. My dad was finishing up his third term, and I'm invested. I'm invested in Sebring. You know,
of course.
I lived here my whole life, except for when I was in college. I have 2 boys now. I'm raising them. You know, I don't know what they're going to do. They might not stick around. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to make sure that Sebring was going to be a great place for them to grow up, and hopefully the kind of place they'd want to come back to.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of kids who grow up here don't, right?
A lot of them don't.
They bail, and maybe because there's not enough opportunity or not enough to do, or
Sure.
I would like Sebring to be the kind of place that our best and brightest want to come back to.
Yeah.
And that's why I ran.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's the perfect reason to run. If making a place better for your kids isn't like the prime directive, I don't know what is. I mean, that's wonderful. Well, I'll tip my hat to you because I'll tell you this: I don't want no part of politics, and I love Sebring too. You know, I also grew up here. I also have lived my whole life here, basically. But yeah, I don't want no part of politics.
I'm not sure I do either anymore. You know, here we are, but that's the idealism that, you know, led me to run anyway.
Yeah. Well, so your dad was on the council.
Yep.
So he modeled that for you.
He did, and I feel like there's been a little more intense and controversial topics in my first term than maybe he had to deal with.
Whiz, you think?
But he did it for the same kind of reasons. He wanted to affect the city in a positive way, and you know, make pragmatic choices, and I think he did.
Yeah.
And you know, so yeah, he now I wasn't as involved or dialed in when he was in office till maybe towards the end.
Sure.
He would talk to me about some of that stuff, and I was always interested, and I think that's part of what attracted me too. Is there's whole another side of the world that exists in municipal government that most of the time we don't even think about.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, as long as your garbage gets picked up and your water is clear, you know, you don't really think about city government.
No, and I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm presuming that it's kind of like the sausage factory. Once you see how the sausage is made, you don't want to have the sausage anymore. So I'm sure that behind the scenes there's tons of things going on that average person out here has no clue.
Probably true, and to be fair, they probably don't care. And you know, if I wasn't in it, I probably wouldn't either. But there's a lot of interesting things that go on behind the scenes, and the budget process is an eye opener and occasionally a nightmare, but necessary. Right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, You guys in the city are responsible for the lives and well-beings of tons of families and individuals, and that's, you know, insurance, benefits, all those things. That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure. No, but you're already 2 years into it, so you've already done 2 budget years.
3.
You've done 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't get easier. I think our newest council member, Ms. Kogelschatz, made a joke at the end, you know, I've got one down, they'll get easier from here. And Roland and I both laughed when she said it. It was like, no, it's the opposite. It gets more difficult, right?
Yeah. When you were contemplating the run, to go to your dad and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? What kind of advice did he give you?
Just to be honest and open and genuine, which is easy for me. I don't really know how to be another way. To study, right? And we're kind of different in that regards, right? I'm an analytical person. I like to get in the weeds. I like to get in the numbers and dive in. And he is a quick decision, give me the broad overview. We're going to do this kind of person. And we've worked together, in our company for 15 years now. Sure. And so we're always kind of yin and yang on those things. Yeah. And I think he thought that my personality would work well in municipal government. Yeah. And so he encouraged me, helped me kind of plan out how I would run a campaign, what kind of issues would be important.
That's the beauty of live TV. Hey, come on in. You're interrupting the podcast, but you all can meet. Do you know Josh Crouch?
I don't.
Well, stick your head in here. This is Josh Stewart. This is Josh Crouch, pro baseball player. He just got married, and he is expecting his first kid, too.
Oh, congratulations.
Here, come here. Come give me a selfie. Here's the camera right here. Josh Crouch. Mwah.
Are you almost done here?
We got about 45 minutes or so.
Okay.
So.
And I'm just going to, do you have 2 seconds?
Yeah. I'll edit this part out.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt.
No sweat.
We're just, we got stuff later tonight.
Yeah.
And we're packed the rest of the
Okay.
day. So I just wanted to thank you for the card and the money.
Yeah.
We went through everything last night, so thank you guys.
You got it.
I'll call you later, but.
Is this for me?
This is for you.
Hey, how about them
Nice.
apples?
All right.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
So I love you so much.
Give your girl a kiss and a hug
Appreciate
for me.
it. Yep, I will.
And make it a good kiss, too.
Shut up.
A little crappy peck on the cheek. Make it count. Hey, thank you for this.
You too.
I love you, man.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
What a good guy. Where were we before Josh so rudely interrupted us?
We're talking
We were
about
your dad and advice, and he had the right personality for the job and everything.
And I think the thing he most kind of tried to impart to me was the difficulty of the budget process.
Oh, yes,
right?
that's it. Yes.
And it's a balance, right? Because you're asking department heads, what do you need? And then trying to weigh what is appropriate for the city. Can the budget handle all these requests? What's the best option? Yeah. And, there's been a couple different schools of thought as time goes on, and there have been councils that slashed and burned every year. And my thought, at least when I came in, was there were some areas of the city where we had slashed and burned too long, had deferred maintenance and things that needed to be rectified, or else it was going to be a bigger problem. You can only kick a can down the road so long.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I think my dad always tried to do budgeting like you're running a business, and I agree with that. But in my business, I don't defer maintenance, because it's more expensive.
Well, sure it is. What is the old thing? Eat a pig now or an elephant later?
Right. And so that was rough, that first budget cycle, because there were some things that we had to pay for. And I think we raised the millage rate just a little bit that first time, which to me was like we had pushed the red button to launch the nukes. You raise the millage, it's and I really expected outrage and a full packed house and threats and things like that, and there was nothing. No, I don't think I got one response, comment, email, call, or person in the audience. That surprised me. That was probably my biggest surprise.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, now it's you don't want to just raise taxes all the time.
Well, of course not. But sometimes it's necessary.
Sure, right.
And I don't know how often it happens, but do you ever lower it? Do you ever lower the millage?
We haven't in the 3 budget cycles that I've been there. This year, it pretty much stayed the same. I think it stayed the same last year, too. I don't think we raised the millage. I can't recall right off the top of my head. Lowering is hard, mostly because our costs keep going up as well.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, property values rise with it, and sometimes they don't.
Yep.
You touched on insurance earlier. It's an astronomical number. I don't know how to fix health insurance, but it's a massive, massive cost, and it's gone up. I want to say in the 3 years that we've done budgets, like 80%.
It's ridiculous. Something is not right there. Something is going on with the insurance companies. Something is askew.
I agree. But it's, what do you do? You know,
What can you do?
not much.
Not really.
Not much.
I mean, they've kind of got you right where they want you.
Right.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that rabbit hole.
Oh, that's my favorite topic to rail against is the state of health insurance in our country, because I deal with it in my own business too.
Yeah.
You know, it's not uncommon to get 25% increases every year. And how does that calculus work? You know, when core CPI inflation is 3%, but my health insurance is 25.
It does not add up. The math does not math.
No.
It just does not. You've mentioned your business a couple times, Stewart Construction. So this is something that your dad started, I believe.
Yep.
It was the 70s, 80s?
80s was when he got his license.
Okay.
I was born in 88. I think he got his license in 89.
Okay. All right.
And ran it kind of pretty small for the first decade or so, and incorporated in 2001, and that's when it really kind of kicked off. And I went to school for construction. I got a bachelor's degree from the University of Florida in building construction.
Okay.
And what does a contractor's kid go to school for, right? I'll tell you, the day I couldn't legally work in the business till I turned 18. Right,
Okay.
Our insurance won't allow it.
Sure.
Insurance.
Insurance again.
Yeah,
of
with
course.
power tools and whatnot. But so the day after I turned 18, I was my first day on the job. I was on a metal roof all day, and 18-year-old idiot. I was like, I'm going to get a tan, no sunscreen, no long sleeves, just a hat.
Florida cracker. You should have known better.
And I always saw our roofing guys covered up, wrapped up. I was like, it's so hot. Why would they do that? This is in June.
Oh yeah.
And I got the worst sunburn of my life that day. The knuckles on my hands got sunburned, and I went to school after that summer, and I also covered up every day, for the rest of the summer, and never made that mistake again. But yeah.
So you guys do it all.
Yeah, pretty much anything residential and light commercial. We do a lot of different stuff. We specialize in like kitchens and baths, home renovation work. But really, if there's an issue on your house, we'll take care of it.
You guys got it all,
Yeah.
from handyman stuff all the way to building new homes.
We tell people we'll do a 1 hour handyman job, or your $1 million dream home, and everything in between.
How cool is that? You've got to have a pretty good staff to be able to do that.
We do. Our guys are really they're really skilled, and they have a broad spectrum of what they can do. Really great people that have really helped. They're the success of our company.
This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020. If you would like to advertise or sponsor an episode of The Havery Show, call 863-381-6831. Got any cool projects going on that you can tell us about?
We're starting to work on a restaurant by I'm not going to say his name, but a local restaurant owner who bought a new place and is working on opening a new one. Is it a hometown or a franchise? Hometown.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, where the old Hardee's or
yes, really.
Was. Yep.
Really.
So, we're still doing some design work on that, but that'll be a new restaurant from a guy locally who's run some successful ones.
Well, fantastic.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great. It's that's been empty for too long.
Yeah, way too long. A few years now, and I remember when it was still Hardee's.
Oh
I'm sure
yeah.
you do too.
Oh, absolutely. Matter of fact, I've mentioned this before in the podcast. When the kids were little, when Harrison was a baby, we have the house over on Oak. It's just a little walk down to Hardee's. So I used to put Harrison in the stroller, and Rodney would sit up in the front of the stroller, and Katie would walk. So we would leave the house on Oak, and we would cut through the Catholic Church parking lot, cut through the rectory driveway, basically. And then we would cut through Kenilworth through the back, and there was a sign there. There was a little gate, and it said, "No trespassing or guests only, do not enter." So when we got to that, me and Katie and Rodney Harrison was too little, but we would start singing "Breaking the Law," and we would cut through that. And we'd cut through the back, and we'd go over, and we'd have some kind of breakfast or lunch, depending on the day, and loved it. Then we go backwards, but we get to Kenilworth. We go to the front this time. We go up the big staircase, and we go into the lobby. We go over to the plantation room.
Okay, yeah.
And there was a piano sitting in there and the stage, and I would bang away some songs on the piano, and Rodney would run in circles, and Katie would do her beautiful dances on the stage, and Harrison would just be in there wiggling around like a little guy. Kenilworth was a big part of our growing up, of their growing. Well, mine too.
Well, me.
Well,
me as
yeah,
well,
holy
right?
moly. And I want to hear all the stories. When I was 11 years old, we used to sneak in and swim in the pool.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
I'm sure not. I'm quite sure. I can't tell you how many shows I did there, solo and with my band. Homecoming dance. I was the DJ, for Sebring High School. We did dances there. It used to be Pier 17 when John Spiegel had it. We have some very, very wonderful memories of that place.
Me too. I grew up there. My parents, literally. We lived in the Kenilworth until I was 3.
Yeah.
And my parents bought their house and we moved. But we lived on the 3rd floor. We had kind of a couple rooms that were put together as like a larger little suite.
Yeah.
And and me and my sister, I have one sister. We played through the Kenilworth all the time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you talked about the plantation room.
Yeah.
We would ride our roller skates and our scooters through there.
Yes.
Go through the lobby, I know every little nook and cranny of that place because we play hide and seek.
Oh, man.
Full property.
Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just picturing you on a little tricycle riding down a hallway and having 2 little girls saying, "Come play with us, Josh," and roll you a ball.
Well, yeah, as I got a little older, it's an old hotel.
Yes,
and
it
there's
is.
some creepiness associated with that.
Yeah. Can you tell me if it's haunted or not, or are you not supposed to say?
I mean, I can tell you my experiences,
Okay, I'm
right?
dying to know.
So I worked, that was my first job, right? Before, because I could work there when I was a teenager.
Sure.
So probably from age maybe 10 through 18, every summer I worked as a maintenance man full time. Mm-hmm. My first job there was operating the elevator because it's a manual 1916 Otis elevator. And so it's got a crank on the side, and you've got to time it just right to stop on the floor.
Yep.
And if you get it wrong, a guest is taking a step up or a step down, and the manual cage and everything. Yep. So I worked there in maintenance, and I remember in the summer midweek, it would be dead, empty. Right. That's the time where everybody in town with hotels struggles.
Yeah.
And I remember working and being on the 3rd floor because usually we'd use the summers to renovate rooms, right? While it was slow, we'd take a couple out of commission and redo them. You pretty much did that nonstop with a 100-year-old building like that. But I remember I'd be working up there knowing there were no guests on the 3rd floor. I was the only one working, and I'd hear footsteps like kind of not whispers, but like someone was talking, several rooms down, and knowing I'm alone up there. That was creepy. I remember being in the attic one time in the dead of summer, and to get in the attic, there's a little staircase on one of the side storage rooms, and you get up there, and there's lights, but they only illuminate a section, and you have to walk to the next section to turn them on.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long catwalk between the rafters, and it's in the middle of summer. It's insanely hot, as you can imagine, right? And I remember being up there working, and I was working with one of the electricians on staff, and we were rewiring a room. I was kind of feeding stuff down to him, and he was doing it. And so we were working up there, and then he left to go walk around and down to the room. So I was by myself. Only lights on are in the little section I'm in, and it's just dark on both sides all the way around. And I remember being up there sweating, and then all of a sudden it just got cold. And creeped me out. I don't know that I really believe in ghosts and that kind of stuff, but I didn't like to go up there by myself. It was very, very creepy. And the basement was similar.
I've heard about the basement. I've heard stories about the basement. Tell me about the basement.
Well, the basement is similar. It's maybe 3/4 of the way below ground. Back in the day, it was staff quarters, and then after that, it was like an indoor little shopping mall for a time.
I remember that. They called it the arcade.
Yes, right. And there's still relics of both of those phases in there. There's rooms that still had, like bathroom equipment from when it was staff quarters, and then you could see some that still had paintings on it from the arcade days. But same thing, really long concrete hallway. Lights only worked for a a part of it, and you got to turn them off and walk in the dark to get to the end.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it was always really, really creepy. When I went down there, I was running out.
Oh yeah.
Never saw anything, but you feel something, right? I know they've had some paranormal groups come in and say it was active. I don't know what I make of all that, but there were certainly some creepy things that I experienced, and we would occasionally have guests come up with some outlandish stories. Now that those could be alcohol fueled,
Sure.
I don't know, but we've had some guests that left in the middle of the night, said, "I don't know what's in that room, but I'm not staying here."
Wow.
Had some guests that claimed they woke up and their bed was levitating. Things like that,
Awesome.
would happen.
All usually in the same room, or usually centered around an area,
No.
or just
No,
random.
they're random. Now, obviously, only in the main building, right?
Right.
There were some guest rooms out along the pool.
Yep.
None of that ever happened
Yeah.
out there, but the main building. I don't know. I couldn't tell you definitively, obviously, but there's always a little bit of creepiness associated with it, and some fun stuff.
Do you know of any events, any hard events that this definitely happened in this year? Any kind of intrigue, like murders or suicides, or
There was a suicide for sure. I was very young. I don't know how old I was. Probably 5 years old or less. A woman was staying in a room on the second floor, and this was back before a lot of gun restrictions, and Kmart was next door.
Yeah.
And she went and bought a gun at Kmart and committed suicide
be darned.
in the room.
Well, that's much later than I thought. I would have thought maybe back in the 20s, 30s, 40s.
I mean, there were, I don't know a lot of those. There were deaths in the hotel.
There would have to be a hotel that size
Right.
that's been around for that long.
Yep.
There would have to be
Right.
incidents.
And not all of them were that extreme. Some just natural cause kind of stuff. But people let their minds go on some of those things. And
for
I mean,
sure.
we used to have people that would report seeing a housekeeper in like the original 1920s style garb.
Yep.
Just walk by and things like that.
So those people, were they people over different periods of time?
Sure. Yeah.
No kidding. So there's no way they could have coordinated that kind of thing.
No.
There's just no possible way. That's fascinating. There is. I completely believe there's something to it. I have no idea. Ghosts, goblins, all that stuff. I don't know. Spirits, angels, demons. All of that stuff is based on some reality, some truth. What it is, I can't tell you, but I know I'm fascinated by it. I've always wanted to spend a whole night in Kenilworth with nothing but a flashlight. I've always wanted that. And I want carte blanche to go anywhere that I'm brave enough to go. I've always wanted that. Do you guys still have a stake in Kenilworth at all?
A minority stake. We have been, or my family's been kind of a minority owner for over 10 years now. So not in control, unfortunately. Just we own less than half.
Yeah. So what's going on? Do you know what's going on with it?
It's embroiled in some lawsuits still. I mean, I hope those can get resolved.
Sure.
But I doubt that we will be running that hotel ever again.
Yeah. Do you think there's any hope on the horizon? I mean, because I know when HGTV was here, a couple of years ago, whatever it was, a year ago, that it was just like gangbusters. Stuff was happening fast, and especially outside. And it was like everybody was excited about it. Kenilworth's back. It's coming back. And then it seemed to have just...
I don't know that any work substantially has been done inside. I think
It's all
mostly been
cosmetic stuff.
outside. Power's not on. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I
For
think
sure.
that I think something will happen eventually. It's not a worthless building.
Yeah,
the
good.
rooms are good.
Good. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah. Now,
Pretty well secured as far as the elements go? You don't know.
over the years, I mean, there have been vandals in there. It went through Hurricane Irma, which ripped one of the roofs off and damaged some things. There's been issues with water but mostly people, right, breaking in and breaking things.
Sure.
I don't think it's getting any worse, really, but it's not in great shape. Any building that old, when you turn everything off for a decade, it doesn't get better.
No, well, of course not.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you got all kinds of issues. You got critter issues, you got mold, you got mitigation you got to take care of. There's all kinds of stuff. But the bones are there.
Bones are good.
And she's still standing. And as long as she's still standing, there's hope. I would be crushed to see Kenilworth go the way of the Santa Rosa and the Nansesewee.
Yeah, it's certainly in much better shape than both of those buildings. I don't think there's any danger of that anytime soon.
Good. I would hate for that to happen. I love that old place.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can't imagine. You're so lucky to have been able to live there and to be able to have the memories that you have.
It was a really interesting childhood, for sure.
I'll bet it was.
Unique.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020. If you would like to advertise or sponsor an episode of The Havery Show, call 863-381-6831. Just any kind of hotel experience to have the run of a place, but to have it historic and to have it so huge and to have so hide and seek on the whole grounds.
It was great.
Oh, wow.
There's hidden staircases.
Really?
That are, unmarked ones, and there's a way to get into the basement from the front porch.
Really?
And I knew that, and I would take those shortcuts. And so you mentioned the plantation room.
Yeah.
There's another smaller banquet room. It's called the cabaret room.
Oh, I know. I did many a wedding in there and sang in there, and I know it
So
well.
it's right next to the front desk,
Yes.
and the basement is not under that room. It's built up kind of on a pure foundations. And on the outside, it's ringed by these bushes.
Yep.
And behind the bushes is a little kind of decorative concrete block wall. Well, there was one spot in those bushes where there was no concrete wall behind it. And when we were playing hide and go seek, I would run around the corner from someone and run directly into those bushes where I knew there was no wall behind it and be gone.
Yes.
And, little things like that. It was a lot of fun.
So cool. Mm-hmm. I would love to be a fly on the wall in Kenilworth's heyday, and to be able to just to not be seen, just to be a ghost, and to just soak in the atmosphere, to soak in the live music that must have been there, and the big bands,
Yeah.
and the jazz era.
Well, I guess the heyday was probably, I don't know exactly what year this was, but they had a governor's conference where the governor of every state in the country came.
Amazing,
Which is pretty cool.
so cool.
And that's probably the peak of that.
Imagine seeing that.
Yeah, that would be wild.
It would be wild. And to be able to see all of Sebring during that time. Oh, and we talk about the hotel itself, but the grounds, most people don't know how massive the grounds were.
Well, it had its own golf course.
Full golf course. Full golf course. We used to ride our bikes back in there.
Yeah.
And they had the old pole barn where they kept the golf carts. We used to get on the roof and, that was our battlefield for cops and robbers. It was the Old West when we did Cowboys and Indians. We used to drive our cars back there. I had a double date once with myself and two girls that I met at the high school pool when I was lifeguarding, and I took them out there and we got stuck. I had a 1973 Maverick, a Ford Maverick. I got stuck in the sand. We had to walk through. The woods and jump the fence by Francis 2 Mobile.
Yeah.
Then we had to walk over to where the Circle K was. I think back then, I don't know what it was. It wasn't a Circle K. It was just a gas station. And get on a pay phone and start calling my friends who can come pull us out.
It was a different era.
It was a totally different era, but it was so fun. And the gardens, the Elks Club wasn't there. The Macbeth's house wasn't there. It was clear shot to Lake Jackson. Something similar to the city pier was out there.
Yep.
And the back of the place, I don't even know how far back, but the gardens, the Kenilworth Gardens, were spectacular.
That was before my time.
It was way before my time too. All that had been parceled up and sold.
I do remember before the Macbeth's house was built, because while my parents just leased the Kenilworth, we operated a driving range.
Yes.
Out there. So you could buy a bucket of golf balls at the front desk and go hit them as far as you could, and you weren't making it to the lake, but you could get close.
People tried.
They tried.
I wonder if anybody got lucky enough, or did you have it?
I think there
back.
was like you were kind of right near the sidewalk where you had to tee off of, and we'd need some probably pro golfers to make it to the lake out there.
Yeah. Wow. How fun. I would love to be able to see all of that. I really would. Well, speaking of hotels, historic hotels, and former golf courses that were attached to them at one time, here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. This is an interesting and many would say pivotal time for Sebring. What I'm looking for here is an everybody wins situation, and I don't know how to get there.
I don't.
And I wish I did.
I think on a lot of big decisions by any government, there's never an everybody wins situation, or at least they don't think
Right.
that they've won, right? You rarely are going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And I've found that to be the case. What my philosophy always is do the right thing, no matter what that is. Whether you're going to make someone unhappy, if you just try to please everybody all the time, you're not really going to accomplish anything. And
it's true.
And you'll probably make a lot of bad choices, right? I try and just do whatever I think is the right thing, kind of regardless of who's in the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is not easy, Josh.
Sometimes it's easier than others,
Yeah.
And the other way I look at it, people get fired up about things that they're passionate about. Very rarely do people get fired up when they think you're just doing a good job.
Right.
We don't get full audiences to say, great job, keep doing what you're doing. You get it when people are angry at a
Sure.
decision you've made or you're contemplating making. But usually that's not really representative of the whole of Sebring. I on any of the controversial or important decisions we made over the last few years, I usually get responses from whatever the other side of that was. It's usually pretty even, kind of how that goes.
Yeah.
But and I have thick skin. I'm okay with people being angry with me as long as I think I'm making the right choice. Like
Sure.
the way I view it, kind of the reason I ran was to try and make Sebring a place that would be great for my son to grow up in. Now my sons.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And today's actually my oldest son's birthday.
Oh, wow.
He's 3 today.
Oh, wow. What a great magical age that is.
Right? Yeah. But as long as I'm doing that, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't get too worked up about people being angry with me. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Sure.
If they're angry because I've made a poor choice, I want to try and rectify it. But if I think I'm making the right choice, I'm okay.
Right. What bothers me is I've seen some social media things that paint the city council and the government of Sebring as being anti-Harder Hall. I know that none of you are anti-Harder Hall. I believe that you would go on record as saying,
Sure,
I am not anti-Harder Hall.
No, definitely not.
And I don't think that you're anti-Blackmans. I don't think you're anti-anything when it comes to that.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm really thrilled with the work that they're doing out there.
All of us are. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's literally a miracle. That place was done for. They came in here and they started pumping money into it and put a roof on that sucker. And man, is she looking beautiful.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day, honestly.
I didn't want to give up hope, but I had just about given up hope.
Right.
And, they came in and turned it around. And I am so thankful. I'm so thankful for that. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree with everything.
Sure.
But I am so thankful. And I am, for the record, I am absolutely pro Harder Hall. And guess what? I'm also pro Blackmans. I think the family's doing a great job. Doesn't mean I'm always going to agree.
Sure.
And by saying that doesn't mean I disagree. And I know that seems like a fence riding thing. But the fact is, I don't have enough information to make a real qualified decision.
Sure.
So I'm not going to go out and run my mouth based on emotion. I want to know facts. I'm not privy to enough facts to be able to have really a good opinion one way or the other. and we can talk about the golf course. And this is a very simple question, and I think that I can probably answer this. Does the city need to be in the golf course business?
So I would say that you're going to get differing opinions on that. My opinion is no.
Yeah.
There are a lot of municipal courses around the country. Almost all of them lose money, right? It's hard for a government to run a golf course and make a profit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for that. Some of them are just that if you have city employees, they get city benefits, and those are expensive. We talked about health insurance. It's a shocking number. And the other thing is that the government is really not an entity geared for profit.
Right.
Well,
that's true.
And there are some places where a municipal-owned golf course makes sense. Areas where there are not a lot of other golf courses.
How many do we have in Highlands County?
10 plus. There have been a couple that have gone under recently, but around 10.
Yeah.
And so do we need to be subsidizing the sport of golf? I don't think so. I don't think that we need to be in the golf course business.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. And for me, it's not. I don't think it's so much about the money part, because we don't make any money at Max Long.
Sure.
We don't make any money at Charlie Brown. Right. We don't make any money at the pickleball courts. This is parks and rec type stuff.
Right.
Where there is no expectation of turning a profit.
Right. Correct.
So I lump that into parks and rec, the whole municipal thing. So yeah, I can see why we're not going to ever make money. But then there is the liability, the financial liability that happens with it too. And again, yeah, Harrison is my son, but I'm not picking at him all the time saying, hey, tell me, because I'm not going to put him in a weird spot, first of all. And second of all, the numbers thing, I'm not a numbers guy. So I have not personally gone out and asked for a public records request to see what the spreadsheet is, to see what the actual numbers are. I haven't asked for that, so I can't speak to that.
Well, I can tell you.
Okay.
Roughly, that was kind of part of our investigation or, calculus determining what was appropriate going forward. The golf course was kind of separated financially, but I think it was back in 2007. And from that point to today, it loses on average about $250,000 a year.
Okay.
Now, again, to your point, no public park makes money. The real difference I see between, say, the golf course and the pickleball course or Max Long Field is there's no real private option for those activities.
Right.
There's no private ball fields for your kids to play softball at.
Yes.
There's there might be a couple private pickleball courts, but only if you're a resident of a certain neighborhood.
Sure.
So if the government's not providing it, it's not going to exist.
That's right.
And it's not the case with golf in Highlands County. There's a lot of options there.
Yes.
I do think it's important, though, to keep that land under city ownership.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Mostly because of the spirit in which it was given to the city.
Sure. Right.
To be used as recreational. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, again, I haven't done the research, I don't believe there's anywhere that it says it has to be a golf course.
It doesn't. It says something along the lines of any sort of public recreation facility. It could be a park. It could be, softball or baseball fields or soccer fields.
It's very broad. That's a very broad definition.
It is. And I think that's important. And in part, the reason I think that is it's 135 acres. It's a lot of land.
It's a lot.
It's not land we'll ever be able to get back, really, if it's sold. Certainly not at any sort of amount that a local government can pay for. It's in kind of the prime heart-ish of Sebring.
It certainly is.
And I think that it would be a shame if it ever got developed. And so the only way to really prevent that is to not sell it. And that's, I think, part of something that I learned as this process went on, because I initially thought that the deed restrictions that were in effect for the city, that it could not be anything other than public recreation, would convey over with a sale to the next buyer. And in conversations with our city attorney and going back and forth, found out that's not the case.
Okay.
that it could be developed. It might take some time.
Sure.
I think what he told me is the maximum amount of time a municipal government could impose a restriction like that on a sale would be 21 years.
So after 21 years, then
Right, sure.
anything could happen.
Yeah, legally.
This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020. If you would like to advertise or sponsor an episode of The Havery Show, call 863-381-6831. What about, I've asked a lot of different people this. I've never gotten a really good answer. The old Harder Hall Golf Course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that are confused by this whole thing. They don't understand that there's two separate things we're talking about
Correct,
here.
yeah.
So the old Harder Hall Golf Course was split into two. Is that what the way I understand
Split into
it?
two. It's owned by two different entities.
Okay.
One parcel is in the county, unincorporated county.
Okay.
One parcel is in the city of Sebring, city limits. I believe that it's slated for development into homes.
Okay. So are these private investors?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's not government owned.
Okay. So there's really no way that's ever going to be put back together and turned into a golf course.
I mean,
again.
I imagine if some investor came and wanted to buy them, everything's for sale for the right price.
Yeah.
But
it would be probably astronomical.
right, because the value as land that can be developed is much higher than the value of a golf course per acre.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I would think it's very, very unlikely.
What we would need is a benefactor.
Someone who's okay throwing
100%.
money down the
That's
drain.
exactly correct. You need a benefactor who has a love for Sebring, a love for golf, and a love for 5-star resorts. And then can come in and say, I'm going to buy this property and I'm going to deed it over.
Sure.
That's what we need, a benefactor. You got any benefactors out there?
Are you volunteering?
Nope. I'm doing what I can to keep this little place from folding up. Yeah, I mean that would solve everything. To have a benefactor come in, buy it all, and then lease it to the Blackmans lifetime, $1 a year.
I mean, I still think that there's an end result to this existing saga that will be good.
I believe so too, and I hope for it. Mm-hmm. I was very discouraged at the meeting too. Was it 2 meetings ago,
Sure.
or is it 3 now? Yeah, when yeah. I wanted someone to second Roland's motion,
Yeah.
and I don't believe that you were allowed to as the chair.
I'm not permitted to.
So I would like, and again, this is me and Harrison don't agree on everything,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like to have had that motion seconded just for the sake of carrying on the discussion. However, I don't know if the Blackmans would have accepted that because the way I understand it, they wanted an up or down vote.
They asked for an up or down vote. Yep.
So I don't know if they would have.
I
don't know, and we'll never know, I suppose.
Right. I don't know. Personally, I think it's cleaner to just proceed with the RFP process and ask the Blackmans to participate.
I hope they do.
I still think that their proposal, and of course we really only know a very broad framework of what their proposal is. We don't have nitty-gritty details that I would hope we would get in the RFP process. But I still think their concept, I'll say that, is probably one of the best that's available, right?
I would absolutely agree with that.
Built-in advantage, right? No one else is going to be bringing a resort to the table.
Yes, that's right.
So I still think that it is likely, if they participate in this RFP, that they would be the best proposal.
What's the time frame? How from the time that you advertise an RFP? How
long is it open?
How long is it open? When does it shut? And yes.
So once it's prepared and city staff is preparing it now, council will have to kind of approve it, make sure that all the details we want are in there. Mm-hmm. It'll open for, usually it's between 30 and 90 days. So say split it down the middle, or 60 days. Mm-hmm. We'll accept any proposal that meets the requirements set forth in the RFP. Then afterwards, there's usually a smaller selection committee that can be comprised of city staff and maybe one council member that ranks the proposals, gives maybe a recommendation to council, and then council, in a normal public meeting, would go through it and select the proposal that they like.
I gotcha.
I would say that I think we'll have the RFP framework completed before the end of this year, open it, and probably have a selection by February or March of this coming year.
Wow. Which is right around the corner.
Yeah.
My word, as fast as time is going these days, that's just like the blink of an eye. Jeff Carlson spoke last night, and I didn't see what he passed out. Apparently he passed out some sort of
It was
map.
just a satellite map
Yeah.
of the golf course with Max Long.
I perked up a little bit on that. I liked the idea of, see, I'm not a golfer, but I am a disc golfer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not good at it.
Okay.
You know, I'm a one disc guy. I go out and play with my brother Peter, and he has a whole thing on wheels that he carries. He's probably got 30 or 40 discs in there, and he knows every, and I carry one. I'm not avid, but I enjoy it. And I really enjoy Little Mosquito Creek out there at the YMCA. And I've played the Muni course when they were setting it up and trying it out and doing the trial run on it. And I played it and I loved it. It was such a cool course. You have some really long distances you can try to throw. I love that course. So the thought of having more park area was very appealing, selfishly, because I'm not a golfer, but I do like to go walk on trails, and I would love to see some sort of an amphitheater or something like that for some music, for some concerts or something like that. So that appealed to me, but I'm certainly in favor of the golf course too. The other thing that I really want, and I think that you could, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But if it did shift over to a park type thing, couldn't Fred and his staff keep their positions?
Potentially. I don't know that we would need as many staff.
Okay.
There's a difference between mowing a park and maintaining a golf course.
100%. Yeah.
So potentially, that's a pretty. We'd have to kind of get into it and see what it would take. That doesn't really fix the idea of losing money on it, because we would continue to do so.
Yes,
And,
I would think the expenses would the expenses be less on just a park compared?
So probably from the standpoint of chemicals and fertilizer and equipment, they might be less. If staffing remained the same and with zero income coming in, it would probably be a larger loss.
Oh, you see, and that's why I'm not the man, because that hadn't occurred to me. There would be zero revenue if it did turn out to be a park.
Probably. I mean, and there's maybe not. There's a lot of things you could do with that course. You're talking about an amphitheater, so maybe you could book events and make some revenue off of that.
You'd have tournaments. You'd have disc golf tournaments, and those, you could have a lot of those. I don't know that it would be enough to put you. You certainly wouldn't put you in the black, but
yeah,
it's tricky. What we need is a benefactor.
Well, start recruiting, right?
We need a benefactor who loves parks and trails and disc golf and splash pads, and that's what we need.
We need you with a lot of money.
2 benefactors. We need one for the Harder Hall Golf Course, and we need one for the Muni, so that they can live.
The Harder Hall Golf Course comes back, and the Muni becomes your fantasy disc golf course.
That would be fine. I want an everybody wins situation.
You heard it here first.
That's what I want. That's what I want. And guess what? If I did have that kind of money, brother, I would be throwing at you guys. I would. I just would. I love Sebring. It's my home.
Well, do you play the lottery?
I have, but I don't. I don't know.
Well, maybe consider it
When it
next time
gets up there into when it was around $1 billion or something like that. Now I think it's regularly into the billions, isn't it?
I think it was up to $2
billion
a month ago. My office had a pool, and I participated because I felt like if everybody else won and I didn't, then my company would disintegrate because everybody would quit.
Everybody would quit. Yeah. No, I'm not much of a gambling man, but if once in a while I'll buy a scratch off or something, and Christmas time, we always bought lottery tickets and we played the dreidel game. Have a little dreidel. I made it out of clay. Yeah, it's a spinning game. And you end up. It's a game of chance.
I like to do scratch offs for stocking stuffers.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
They
Nobody
are fun.
ever wins anything.
Nobody. You know,
but
you just spend 50
the idea that you
bucks.
could is fun.
The idea that you could. And we do the dreidel thing, and I buy, 50, 60 tickets to pass out to, players. Yeah, and it never works out.
Right.
It's never once has it worked out. But I guess that's, it's designed that way, I suppose.
But this time could be different.
Could
right?
be. This time might be the one. I would love to be able to. Do something like that. Man, to be able to go in and just go to the Blackmans and say, all right, what do you need? What can we do to make this really work for you, and how can I help? And to be able to go to the city and say, all right, what do you guys need? What can we do to make this work for you? There's your check. There's your check. Now let's hug it out and everybody get along.
That would make our budget process a lot easier. So if you find that guy, send him our way.
I will. I have a feeling I'm not going to be rubbing shoulders with anybody like that anytime soon.
Probably not, but hey.
I can dream.
It's funny you talked about the idea of a town benefactor. We're part of a remodelers group, and we meet a couple times a year in different places. And a couple of years ago, we went to one. It was a small town in Pennsylvania, the name of which is gone. But we stayed at this hotel that was like this historic hotel that had been rebuilt and remodeled in like a crazy way, and it made no sense because it had like 15 rooms, And we were talking with the company owners who we were there to meet with, and they said that the town had a benefactor.
Really?
And that he had bought that hotel and put, like $15 million into this 15-room hotel, and he had bought that place down the street, and he was just, some incredibly wealthy dude who grew up there and was kind of just molding it in his image. And I thought that concept was pretty cool and pretty wild, because there was no economic sense to it, really.
Yes.
It was just he had a vision and he had the money to accomplish it.
How cool.
Very cool.
There's a movie, I can't think of the name of it now, and I can't even think of the people that were in it, but I really enjoyed that movie. And it was about a math teacher who figures out a hack to win the lottery when it's a certain time of the week or month or something like that. The pot rolls differently or something, and he did the odds, and he figured out the first time he lost a couple grand, and then he tweaked it, and then he started winning money. And then he started winning substantial money, and they would have to go and buy these scratch offs, or no, they would have to fill them in.
Okay.
To make a long story short, they ended up getting more and more friends involved, and it ended up becoming a little town project, and they were able to fund all these different little small businesses and stuff through winning the lottery on that hack. And this is all based on a true story. And meanwhile, some kids at Harvard also figured out the hack. So they were battling each other for this money. And it was a really, really cool movie. I can't think of the name. I can't think of who was in it. I'm going to have to look it up later because it'll make me mad. But all that to say, yeah, it would be nice. It would be really nice if a guy or a woman or a group of people pulled their money and jumped in on this.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it would.
To be fair, I don't think we need it. I think we're going to, let me rephrase it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
We're going to get to a good result.
Yeah. I want that. Josh, I really want that. I want that everybody wins thing. I'm not gonna let go of that.
Well, everybody wins. Probably everybody will win. But it might take them a couple of years to realize that everybody won. Rarely is everybody happy with whatever decision you make in the moment.
Yeah.
But I think we'll get there. I'm pretty confident of that.
I have the reason that I can have confidence in it is because I have confidence in my city government. I know all of you individually. I know you're good people. And I know that you love Sebring to a T. All of you do. And I've also gotten it's obviously clear what the Blackmans are doing out there. They're putting their money where their mouth is. Sure. They're doing a damn good job out there. They really are. So I really hope cooler heads will prevail, that everybody comes to the table and everybody works this thing out and gets it done.
Sure.
Yeah. I want Fred and the staff to keep their job. I want the residents that live on the course, to be able to play the course and be happy. And I know. I'm a pie in the sky guy. I'm a dreamer. What can I tell you? That's just how I am.
I see Harrison in these meetings, and it's clear to me that he is a very optimistic and idealist kind of person. I can see where he gets that from.
Well, yeah, and he's more pragmatic than I am. He's more probably level-headed than I am, and I am. But he is optimistic. He is an optimistic guy.
Which is great. You want to have that, especially in a municipal government.
Absolutely, yeah. This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020. If you would like to advertise or sponsor an episode of The Havery Show, call 863-381-6831. We're going to wrap this up.
All right.
But I always like to wrap it up with something quirky.
All right. What do you got? Fire away.
You opened the door
Oh, boy.
for this when you got here.
Okay.
So, Josh Stewart, you can be in real life any Star Wars character from any era, and you get to live that character's life, not as a movie, not as pretend, but as the real person. You get to live that life. Who are you?
Oh, it's Jar Jar Binks, right?
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
That's a joke. I'm a bit of an idealist, too.
okay.
So at first I was going to say, Skywalker, right? He's kind of this messianic character.
Yep.
I think it's Han Solo, though, man.
Yeah.
He's living the dream. He's cruising the galaxy with his buds. And, Han Solo. Well, what about you? You got to answer this question.
I always wanted to be Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
And when the movies came out, I always thought that because when the first trilogy came out, and even before Empire Strikes Back, George Lucas had talked about there's going to be 3 trilogies.
Mm-hmm.
And I always just assumed they would follow Luke, all the way up. I didn't realize it were prequels.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 10 years old, I thought that I was going to somehow go to Hollywood and become the next Luke Skywalker. So, there's that. Looking back on it now, I don't think that I want to. I definitely don't want to be Luke. I certainly don't want to be Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan is tempting. Obi-Wan has that wisdom.
Sure.
He's got that very cool hand that I like. I like in him throughout all the different series.
Mm-hmm.
Clone Wars particularly. I like Obi-Wan and Clone Wars. It's going to be between Obi-Wan and Han. And right now I'm not exactly sure, but right now, because I'm old, I'm leaning towards Obi-Wan.
Value the wisdom over the lifestyle.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And there is also something to be said about becoming a hermit. And,
Sure.
Basically living off by yourself and looking after Luke from a distance and, taking care of business, but also doing it very discreetly and not being in the spotlight. I spend a lot of time on stage. I spend a lot of time being known. So the thought of being kind of a hermit and doing stuff and doing important things, but doing them behind the scenes, I like the thought of that.
That's appealing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an introvert kind of person too. I like that idea.
All right. Well, what's next? What's next for you?
Man, I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old and a business to run and city council.
Yeah.
That's it, man. My life is full.
You better go home and blow out 3 birthday candles.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations on that. There's nothing better than being a dad.
It's fun.
It's the ultimate.
Yeah. It's a really fun ride.
It is, and I can honestly say that every stage of my children's development has been wonderful. And as much as I loved pushing them in the stroller down to Kenilworth to play in the plantation room, to be able to have my son call and say, "Hey, Pappy, what are you doing for lunch today?" That's pretty awesome.
I'm trying to just soak it all in because I know it goes, fast.
Way faster than you'll ever know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh, I love you, man. I appreciate
thanks.
everything. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it. It's always fun to talk with you.
Thank you. Back at you. One of these days, we have a lot deeper conversations to have.
All right.
We started at the coffee shop a few years
Yeah.
ago. We haven't. I was actually at the Circle Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I still haven't read the Screw Tape letters.
You better get on.
It's
that.
on my list.
You got a little bit of stuff ahead of that right now. You're busy, but the time will come. We'll debrief on C.S. Lewis.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, look at. The Havery Show has been brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020.